I think my biggest stress right now is probably college.
My parents are so supportive. I love them so much. But my biggest worry right now is that I'm gonna let them down.
I'm kind of scared that I will burn out in the future.
For me, I wanted to be a soccer player ever since I was young, but I don't know what job opportunities are there.
I think for me, my biggest barrier is probably my self-doubt.
I would tell my, future self to continue to be your authentic self in all spaces, regardless of who is around.
I think that every single generation thinks that the one coming after them is, either immature or unknowledgeable.
Especially with climate change, they left everything for us to do.
I'm John Legend, and we're at a high school in Los Angeles, and we're about to surprise some seniors in high school. They don't know I'm coming, but we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about my life, we're gonna talk about the lessons I've learned, and hopefully teach them something that will help them as they go into their future. Howdy. I believe someone's going to introduce me now.
Hi.
Hello, how are you? What's your name?
I'm Cole. It's
nice to meet you, Cole. Cole's going to tell you who I am.
Okay, I am delighted to introduce today's surprise speaker for the first ever episode of Had I Known.
What would I do without your smart mouth?
John Legend is a singer, songwriter, and actor who was the first Black man to become an EGOT winner. Since then, he has continued to receive critical acclaim for his solo work and his collaborations with other major musicians. John has also been outspoken in his support for various social causes, including education, incarceration reform, and racial equity. Please join me in welcoming to the Had I Known stage, John Legend.
Thank you, Cole. How's everybody? Did you guys have guesses who was going to be here today?
Yeah.
Barack Obama.
Barack Obama? I am sorry. I am not Barack Obama. I'm just here to hang out with you guys, talk about a little bit about my life, but also I want to hear from you guys. I know you're at an important point in your lives. You're like thinking about what your future is going to be, who you want to be in the world. So let's talk a little bit about my life. I did grow up in Springfield, Ohio. My dad was a factory worker. He built trucks for a living. My mother stayed at home with us. But then our parents got divorced. And this all happened, well, let's start back. I grew up surrounded by music. So I grew up in the Pentecostal church. My grandfather was our pastor. My grandmother was our church organist. My mother was the choir director. I begged to be in the church choir when I was like 5 or 6 years old, and they let me start singing with the choir when I was 7. And I knew I loved it right away. I loved the feeling of being up there. I loved the feeling of using my voice. I loved the feeling of connecting with an audience, and I wanted to keep feeling that, so I wanted to keep performing. One of the interesting things about my childhood was that I was homeschooled by my mother for a lot of those early years in my life. I was a very precocious kid. I loved to read. I loved to learn about the world. My parents got sold a big multi-volume World Book Encyclopedia set, and I was like in heaven when they got that. When I was around 11 years old, my parents got divorced, and it was after my mother's mother died. She had a big influence on me as a musician, so I was very close with my grandmother, but my mother was also very close with her. And so she kind of went into a downward spiral. It was a really difficult time for our family, but it was especially hard for my mom. She got really depressed after that and kind of just fell apart for a while, you know? She felt like hopeless for a while, depressed for a while, and then eventually my mom started doing drugs and got addicted to drugs, and we didn't see her for like 10 years. This woman who had been homeschooling us, leading the church choir, was this brilliant, bright light. She kind of had that light dimmed or extinguished even for a while. And so we were latchkey kids raised by my single father. All of my siblings, we all pitched in and took care of each other. During that time, I think music was the thing that made me feel like I could cope with all the emotional struggles I was going through. And it was my way of introducing myself to other people because I came to public high school at the age of 12. I was so shy, but the only thing that made me feel like I could come out of my shell was music. When I was 15, I entered an essay competition, and the prompt was, how do you plan to make Black history? I said, I plan to use my social skills and my musical talents to be a positive role model for my fellow Afro-Americans. I envision a successful musical career that will allow me to obtain high visibility in the community. But it's interesting because between 15 and 25, that vision had to take some detours. When I was in college, the first big break that I got as a musician was I got to play piano on the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. That was the first major project I ever played on and first major credit I ever had on an album. And I was like, okay, this is my big break. I'm gonna get a record deal soon. But year after year, I was making demos, writing songs, and getting turned down by record labels. Kept getting turned down. I got turned down by every major label, including the one I'm signed to now. You know, they say luck is when opportunity meets preparation. For me, I got better and better as a performer. I got more confident as a performer. All of those things were the preparation that I needed for when those lucky breaks came along. So when I met Lauryn Hill, I was ready to play on the album because I showed her what I could do after years of practicing. When I met my manager, when I met my lawyer, I had to be ready to meet them. And so all of that practice, all that work led to me being ready when I got those opportunities. So finally, after getting turned down by all these labels over time, I finally got a record deal in 2004, and my debut album, Get Lifted, came out. I'm so excited to talk with you more about it, see what questions you have, and I can help you kind of understand my path and see how you can apply it to your own lives.
I'm curious how you kept such a good mentality and kept pursuing your passions and your goals even after maybe getting turned down or rejected from record labels or opportunities.
Part of it was just, I was confident. Like, I really believed that I had something to say, that I had talent, and they just were wrong. Like, no, you're wrong. You should sign me. But I also listened when I got feedback. And so I think it was that combination, some confidence, but also some humility and being like, okay, they actually have a point. Maybe I do need to make that better. Yes.
I think what I'm stressed about is knowing if I'm doing what I need to do for my future, like if I'm going on the right path, like to just like make a living. Thanks.
I don't know whether my degree is gonna give me like a job and I'm interested in two different things that are completely contrasting, and so I don't know like what to major in. It's scary. Like adulthood is very scary when it comes to having a job that you like.
You know, it's interesting because I think when you're in high school, you feel like everything's so important, and I don't want you to think it's not important, but just know that there's so much more life you have to live and that you can make mistakes now. It's okay. Like, everything's not riding on every single thing you do right now. Even the parts that didn't work out, they worked out eventually, you know? I got rejected a bunch of times. Like, in the moment, I wish that didn't happen. But I feel like all of those rejections led to where I am now. What I went through with my mom, what I went through losing my grandmother so young, like, it was tragic, it was sad, there was pain, all of that. But it also like gave me opportunity to like grow and become more independent, get better as a musician. Part of what I really encourage in people is take risks, be courageous. Like, the stakes are not super high right now, okay? Maybe you fail the first time you do it, but you're gonna grow from that in a way that you wouldn't grow if you were just being safe. Yeah.
coming into this year, the senioritis kicked, and Instagram kind of makes me feel worthless from time to time. And I feel like a lot of us can agree on that.
Yeah, I kind of I'm on it a lot, so I just feel like I'm scrolling through and I just get addicted, and sometimes they're just like mindless videos.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
The worst is when you know that you don't want to be laying in bed scrolling, but you can't stop, and then you're watching all these people have fun and go to parties, and you're sitting there as a senior in high school and you're just not, and I don't know, it's hard. Yeah.
Oh my God. Just so you know, the state of technology when I was in high school. I graduated high school in 1995. No one had an email. I'd never been on the internet, and the screens were so different than what you guys see now. And we had no such thing as social media at that time. And so, yeah, it's kind of crazy that you guys have to grow up with that. I don't have advice on how to deal with it as a teenager, because I didn't have to deal with it as a teenager. But I deal with it now. If you're trying to compare yourself to other people on social media, you're only seeing a very curated version of who they are on social media. And my version of myself on Instagram is curated. It's purposely I pick things that make me look better, make me look cooler. I don't show everything, but just keep perspective so you don't let it erode your own confidence in yourself and your own journey that you're going through. Yes, ma'am.
What do you wish you would have known at this stage in your life?
Forgiveness is so important. I believe when you think about who you are and the relationships you have with people, people are gonna hurt you. People are going to do things that are selfish. People do it in your family. I remember the uncertainty, I remember the fear, I remember the tears when my mom moved out of the house, going through that kind of pain and feeling like your mom abandoned you, feeling like she failed you in a way. It takes a while for you to forgive. And you have to realize that forgiving people is not just a gift that you give to them, it's a gift that you give yourself. When you hold on to pain, when you hold on to resentment, when you hold on to wanting to punish someone for what they've done, it actually holds you back too. And so we had to learn to forgive our mother. My mom is sober now. She's back in our lives now, not only as our mother, but also to grandmother our kids. While I was disappointed in my mom during that time, the more I grew up and the more perspective I had, the more I understood that when people go through a major loss, a major trauma, sometimes they do things that are out of character for them. We have to have space to understand that, to be gracious with those people and to forgive them. Me being able to forgive my mom, opened me up emotionally in a way that was really good for me. And it's healing and it's freeing. And I think it's important to keep that in mind when you go through tough times with family members and people you really love. You have to be able to forgive for yourself, not just for that person. All right, so our last thing we're gonna do together is we're gonna write a letter to our future selves. Who do we wanna be? What will make us proud of ourselves knowing that we accomplished this in the future? Take a sheet and pass it around. I'll take one too.
In this point of your life, you're 18 and you're a senior. You're nervous, you're procrastinating what you want to do in your life. You're bored when you go home, you're exhausted with obligations, school, work, and your future. You have to know what you want to be. You're always asked that, what do you want to be? What do you want to do? I want to become, I don't know, someone that people enjoy being around, friendly, just someone people feel like they can talk to and I can listen.
I want to be an OBGYN, and I also want to be a CEO, have my own business on the side. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be an actor and a psychologist.
I want to be a general partner at a hedge fund.
I just want to be in a band.
I think the dream would be to be a film composer.
You know a lot of the answers that I'm still asking questions about. I really hope that those answers are good, but I also understand that setbacks are a part of life. Please remember what really matters and brings you joy. I have so much hope for you. I can't wait to get over all the things holding me back.
Dear me, I am writing to you to remind you what we value. I want us to continue valuing our friendships, our relationship with our parents, and most importantly, our empathy for others. That is our greatest gift.
I hope my generation is remembered by the positive impact we will have in social justice.
I hope that I become, like, I guess, an inspiration for other, like, Black girls and, like, be in a position to, like, support my mom.
Dear future me, I hope that you're not too caught up in what other people think. I want you to be content. I want you to be happy where you are. And I don't want you to be worried about where you will be or where you have been.
I have a lot of anxiety and pressure that I put on myself to succeed, especially since I'm given all these opportunities to succeed. I feel like I need to.
I hope that by the time you read this, you made it. You had some really good ideas when you were young, and I'm just hoping that you tried and tried and tried again for them to succeed.
Thank you, Lex. It was interesting seeing the different responses that some of the young people had. What they're grappling with right now is like, will they be happy? Will they be content? That's what everybody's trying to figure out. Hopefully each of them can find what they're passionate about and like pour themselves into that, but also find people who they love being in the trenches with, going through challenges together with, who are really what determine whether or not you're happy.